Rima.
Hi, it's Joy Foster,
Hey.
founder of Tech Pixies, and you are listening to or watching the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And today I have a really special guest, Grace, who has been in our community for a long time now. She fast tracked her way through our self study program and then became one of our students that went through our social media mastery VIP group coaching program. So, Grace, welcome to the show and tell us a little bit about you and where you were at when you found Tech Pixies.
Hey, thank you for having me. Um, Sorry, what was the question?
What was life like when you heard about Tech Pixies for the first time?
So when I heard about Tech Pixies, I was like, oh my God, this is the course I must do. Because I mean, previously I did some like digital marketing course, but it wasn't really that. And then for me, I felt like it wasn't enough. It wasn't giving me what I wanted. But then when I heard about Tech Pixies, I was like, oh my God, this is it. And I'm really, really grateful because Tuha was like, yeah, this is what you should do.
Yeah, so Tuha was a tech pixie who'd gone through our program and had graduated. And at the time you were nannying and you had this vision for your future, which was not what you were doing at that time. So what was it like knowing you were doing a job that wasn't your dream job, but you were doing it and then you really knew you had a future, but you weren't getting there? What did that feel like?
So every day felt like I'm doing the wrong thing, absolutely doing the wrong thing. But at the same time, I was like, okay, what is it that I can learn from this job? It is true that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, but there's things that I can learn from being like a nanny, and maybe like I could kind of like take it onto my journey. So it wasn't really fulfilling, but rather than kind of like complaining about it, I was like, there is a good in everything that we'll do. So I will kind of like find the good bit in it and enjoy it.
Well, Grace, I've known you for a while now. I've never heard you complain about anything. So you have
True.
the most beautiful presence and, just a wonderful addition to the community at Tech Fixies.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm so glad that you met Tuha. I believe you met on the playground and she was telling you,
Not
uh,
really. So
I,
how we met is so because I mean my boss as well at the time when I was working as a nanny, he was like, I think he kind of like saw that in me. He was like, this is not what you're supposed to do. This isn't what you're supposed to do. And then he like when we were chatting, he was like, okay, what are the things that you want to do like career wise? And then I told him that I want to be a social media manager. Like I really want to like get in social media and stuff like that. And he's like, okay, I've got a friend that is kind of like into digital marketing. And then the friend of a friend referred me to her.
okay. Oh, wow. That's so interesting. I think that's
Mm.
fascinating. All right, so let's talk about a couple of the things that as you've gone through your Tech Pixie journey, you've discovered. So one of the things that you discovered as you were going through your Tech Pixie journey was actually you had a business idea. You have a business idea. And as most people do when they have a business idea, they get really excited about it and then they go to start working on it and they see somebody else doing it and they go, I shouldn't do this. Someone else is doing this. And you just had an experience like that, but the community really rallied around you and helped you to see it differently. So tell us about your business idea, and also tell us how the community helped you to keep going with this business idea.
Yeah. So the thing is, at the time, I kind of like I did the vision workshop that you the free one, and then I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So basically, I want to do like biodegradable hair out of banana stems. That has always been the thing for me. So when I did the vision workshop, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. But at the time, I was like, okay, I don't have the funds to do it yet. Maybe I can do something else that will kind of like bring in the money. But then the end goal will be to do that. So that is how I started the like my hair growth oil. But then I was still feeling like this isn't quite it. And then I had a conversation with a really good friend, and then he literally told me that go for it. don't waste your time on doing the hair growth oil. No, because it's already populated. It is true that it will bring your kind of like your thing to it, but go into something that the earth needs, that we need. I was like, okay, let me do it. So I kind of like started researching again from scratch because I had this idea back in like 2017, but at the time I did not really act on it. So, but it was still there that that is the thing that I want to do. And when I did a vision workshop, I was kind of like certain that that is the thing. Because then in a vision workshop, you talk about something that is greater than you, that you need an external force to help you go through it. And then I was like, that is the thing. So when I did research, I think it was like last month or like early October, I started doing research on that again, back on it, like really, really bang, bang, bang. And then I was like, oh my God, there is already someone doing it in the US and they launched last year. That literally made me feel like I literally just crumbled. I was like, no, because I wanted to be the like the first one to come with it, like to revolution, like to bring revolution in like the hair industry and stuff like that. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, okay. And then I felt really bad because then I had the idea, but I did not act on it. And then someone else acted on it. And then when I felt really that day I was like, okay, I'm giving up. I'm literally giving up. I'm doing something else. And then that day I posted in like the community, TechPix community, like this is what I want to do. Like I've always wanted to do it, but then there is someone else doing it already. And then the community, oh my God, the love, the motivation I got back was just out of this world. I was like, and these are people I haven't even met in real life, but they support me as if like we've met and I'm part of family. And I feel like that is what really like the community is like, because we haven't really met, but that everyone was like, no, just do it. Do it. It doesn't matter if they're already doing it. In the UK, they're not doing it yet. So be the first one in the UK. And even if they're doing it in the UK, still do it, because then what you will bring to the table will be different from them. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it. And that is how I finished my business plan. Like, oh my God. And I've reached out already to people to kind of like help me with the prototype and like, yeah, start the process.
I love that story so much. And what I love is the story we're going to have in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, 10 years, because you are an action taker. You know, you're not just a dream builder. You're not just a dreamer. You're an action taker. You have a dream and you take action. But here's what I love about that story. You reached out to a system of support when you felt stuck, when you felt like I'm giving this up. And interestingly enough, your post was not to get support for you to keep going. Your post was to tell everybody else, if you have an idea, take it because someone else will. and you really had, you're sort of, it was almost like you're giving everybody advice, like, don't wait on an idea because if you do, someone else is going to do it. And now I'm distraught, you know? But what I loved was the community response, which then flipped that on its head, and look at the action you've taken to move that forward. You know, it's interesting because in the vision workshop, we talk a lot about, you know, your dreams, you come from the dream, right? The dream, it's not like you go out and go, I think I want that dream, or I want that dream. Like the dream's already in you. And we have to actually lean into that. And I love everything about that story, especially the ending point on that. But I do have to say there are some amazing funds out there, which I will send you some more information on. But I know, for example, Unlimited, UN Ltd, they have a lot of grants and they have a lot of investment, and they have a 50% requirement that the founder of the company has to come from a Black background. So I think there's going to be some funds available to you. It's just getting in front of the right people. So I'm happy to help you, help connect you to the right people with those ideas. And I love your ideas, but I also love your energy. And I love that you reached out to the community. And I think there's a really important lesson in there, is that we need to build up a system of support around us. And in the Dream Builder program, I talk about that. There's a whole session on sort of creating your own mastermind and reaching out to what we call partners in believing, people who believe in you. And in fact, what I love also about your story is that in April we did a social media festival, and the social media festival raised money for our scholarship program, and we were able to provide you with a fully funded, well, mostly funded. You funded a third of it yourself, but the other 2/3 were funded by the community. So your entire story, has been one of partners in believing who love you and care about you. And, but you've gone for it. You've shown up, you've done the work, you've leaned into it, you've leveraged the community. And I just love that. Now, let's talk about how you raised your profile in the hair space, because at Tech Pixies, we're building a TikTok module, but it has not yet released. We've not yet released the module. We're working on it ourselves. I always learn the network before we go and then teach other people, so we are giving the right information. We've done some upskilling ourselves on understanding how TikTok works. So you took all of the tools and the sort of system that we've created for the other networks, and you had the courage to launch on TikTok. Now, had you not done the Tech Pixies program in the other networks, would you have launched on TikTok?
No, because I was literally scared. I know I'm all of I'm literally part of Gen Z, but I just feel like even for me, it was like, oh, this is a new platform. I've never been on it. And I'm like, I don't even know how it works. But then I just feel like most people of my age are also there. And then I just feel like I should be knowing it, but I don't know. And that literally scares me even more because I don't have any idea of how that platform works. So I'm really
But what was cool was you had all of the other platforms you trained on. And at Tech Pixies, we have a really specific system, right? We talk about the profile, we talk about the algorithm, we talk about how to post properly, we talk about growing and engagement, and we talk about analytics. So we have a real system that all the other networks went through. So you effectively just applied that system to TikTok. And tell us about the results. Tell us what happened to you.
The results were amazing because I did the visual marketing plan, and then I had the strategy, and I literally implemented all that on TikTok. The results, oh God, it was literally mind blowing. And also because on Tuesday we had these sessions, and then I had a session, and then I was like, okay, say something that you will do this week, and then you must do it, and then next week you have to come back and tell us the results. So that is how I started with my TikTok. Because I was scared of doing it, but I was like, okay, I'll just do it anyways, because I know I literally have everything that I need to start. So that's how I implemented. And my goal was to have, I think at the time it was 500 followers in a month or something like that. But in 3 weeks, I kid you not, in 3 weeks, I had 1,000 followers. And that just blew my mind. Oh my God, I can do it. I did it. It was a massive win for me.
And you had a couple, you had one go viral, I think that.
Yes, absolutely. I think it had wait, let me just double check.
It's still growing.
It is still growing. It is still growing. It's I had two actually. Two of my videos went viral. So one is my first viral video is 89,000 views and 7,000 likes and comments, and the other one is 93,000 views and 4,000 over 4,000 likes. I know.
And that's all organic. You didn't put any money behind it.
No, absolutely not. It's absolutely all organic.
Yeah, I love that. And what's interesting is when you went onto TikTok, you were trying to find your voice, right? It took you a while to figure, and there was some fear around talking about hair, which was the thing that you actually are trying to lean into with this, or are leaning into with this business. So talk about how you found your voice on TikTok.
So the thing, I think it was mostly thanks to you, because I was I don't know what to do and everything. And then you told me that, okay, what do you like? What is it that lights you up? And then, because then I was all confused. I was like, do I talk about fashion with hair? Do I talk about food? Because I also love cooking. I was I wanted to do everything at the same time. And then you were like, no, choose something. What lights you up? And then I was like, oh, hey, I really like it. And then you told me that, okay, that's it.
Well, so, and we got to spend a lot of extra time together because you volunteered to be a
Social media
the
manager.
Tech Pixie's social media manager.
Yeah.
And so we got to, and we met every week, and some of these fears came out as you were launching your TikTok account. And so we talked through them, and it was really great. It was just great. I just love you. You're just so much fun, and you have this great vision. And I really missed you when you left. When you finished your internship. We had a great intern come in after you. She's amazing, and she's about to wrap up and hand over to the next intern. And I do love the internships because I get to know people on a much deeper level. But I love that. So you leaned into what you loved, what lit you up, and then that's how you found your voice. And that's when things took off for you on TikTok.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then for me, I felt like I wasn't really working, because then sometimes you can feel like being on social media and making videos, like creating content, can be a bit of like hard work, and you feel like you're working. But for me, it's like I'm not really working. I can literally do it like all day, every day, just talking about hair. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, now let's talk about another goal you had. So you had a goal that so you had this internship, and then at the end of the internship, you were like, I'm going to have a job. And I also love that about you. So you got a job. So, and are you still doing that job?
I am still doing that job. Like, I'm
Yeah.
working in the cafe, and it's absolutely amazing. So it is true. It is not kind of like the end goal, but it is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
For me, it's
And
like, because that gives me some flexibility as well to be like still create content, and like do other stuff like getting into tech. That's another thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that gives me time to study as well while doing other stuff.
Well, and this is a great principle, because this is another one of the principles that we talk about on Dream Builder and in the Vision Workshop. Do what you can with what you have, with where you're at. And it's sort of leaning into that principle that I have a dream, and I have steps that I know I need to take to make that dream a reality. In the meantime, I'm going to do this so that I can keep focusing on that. And a lot of people in our community do that, and myself, I've done that as well. I'm rowing part-time at my daughter's school, and
Wow.
there's a double benefit there. One, I get to spend more time with my daughter, and I also get to do rowing coaching, which is something that I always loved. I didn't realize how much I missed being outside. I love being outside. And I don't necessarily have an aspiration to be the national rowing coach or anything like that, but it's a great opportunity to bring in some extra income, be outside a couple days a week, be with my daughter more. I mean, obviously I'm with a whole bunch of girls, not just her, but it's such a dual purpose, and it's been such a great opportunity for me. And it is, do what you can with what you have, with where you're at. What skills do I have that I can use to bring in some extra income right now? I got to tell you, I mean, we're filming this in October of 2022. Everyone's thinking of ways to bring in extra income.
Absolutely.
Got to pay those energy bills. So,
Yeah.
I love that. There's so many things. I mean, you're not yet a dream builder in our program Dream Builder, but you are a dream builder. You're doing all of it, and you've applied all of these principles. Do what you can with what you have, with where you're at. What would I love? What lights me up? Leaning into all of that, creating the vision, taking action steps towards it, building a system of support around you, of partners in believing who want to support your dream, and hold for you that it's all possible. And I think that's the most important piece here, that you have people that really believe. Because I think a lot of times people tell their dreams or their ideas to someone, and then people sort of, in a funny way, other people will do to you what you did to yourself, in the sense that you said, oh, well, someone's already done this, so I can't do it. But very often someone will tell someone their idea, and then that person will say, oh, well, that's never going to work, right? So a third party will tell you that's never going to work. And a lot of people will stop because other people say it's not possible. But what I love is when you were telling yourself it wasn't possible, you leaned into a system of support that encouraged you to keep going.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that I feel like for me, support is really important, because you only need that one person that tells you it is possible. Just go get it. Yeah.
Well, it's so cute because with my rowing girls, I have trying to see if I've got it somewhere here. I had them put together quotes. So I asked them to all put together quotes, and we're doing this sort of list of sort of positive expressions, affirmations that they can lean into on a regular basis. Because we were talking about, because I've been bringing all of these, quotes into, every day in every way, you're getting better and better. I'm bringing all of that into rowing. And they're really leaning into it. And I was just trying to find what one said, but one of the quotes that they gave me, oh, here it is, was actually Audrey Hepburn's quote, which is, nothing's impossible. The word itself says I'm possible.
Possible. I love that. I absolutely love that.
I mean, these are all my 12-year-old girls. These are all their quotes, and I love it. They're so good. They're so good. If you think beautiful thoughts, you will always be beautiful. I mean, that's another one. Without dreams, we have nothing. On a rainy day where everything is sad, always look for the rainbow. I know these are so good. I love this. There is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.
Absolutely. As annoying as it is. I just love that, because I feel like that also reminds me that in order to be that girl, you don't need to be perfect. Because I mean, I've always looked for perfection before doing anything. That is why even like before posting my videos on TikTok, I was like, I want them to be perfect. But I was like, you can be that girl, and then you can also be like you with all your flaws. And then there are days that you'll feel like you don't want to do it, but then the other days that you'll feel like, yeah, I got it all. And you're still that girl. So when you feel low, that doesn't mean that you're not that girl. No, that girl has like ups and downs. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I just feel like, and it's just like a vote, because then in order for like maybe the prime minister to win, like they don't have to kind of like win all the vote. They just have to win the majority. So I just feel like I don't have to have it all. I just kind of have to win the majority.
Oh, that's so great. Win the majority. And really it's winning the majority of your own self. It's that when I was in Concord, so I went to Concord, Massachusetts for 4 days for leadership training. And on the last day, they said, what's the one thing you're going to take away from this? And I wrote down trust yourself, trust myself, trust me. And I think we don't trust ourselves enough. And, there is a part of us that fights for the majority, and sometimes we let the minority rule, and we stop ourselves from leaning into the thing that we would love. And actually, we've got to trust ourselves, and we've got to trust that this idea that we have has come, from us, through us, that it's been there for a long time. And, I always say to people, I do not have the same dream as you. You don't have the same dream as me. And actually, if we had a room of 20 people, none of us would have the same dreams. And that's because we have different experiences. We have different lives, different makeups, different parts of the world, different, and that's all of our dreams are shaped from all of the good and bad experiences that we have in life. Because very often great business ideas come from solving a problem, right? And I love your idea. Your idea solves a major problem. It solves an environmental problem, but also a beauty need.
Absolutely. And I feel like for me, because I mean, every time that I wear like extensions, because I love having braids, and every time that I wear braids, it's either like ruins my skin or ruins my dress. And I'm like, they need to be an alternative. They need, and the fact that it also causes like cancer. And I'm like, no, these have to stop.
It causes cancer, or can cause cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Cancer. Yeah.
Wow. So, and actually that would be, I mean, this also in the UK is Black History Month. Tell us a little bit about the history of hair extensions and how that evolution has come about, and what it provides for women.
So, I mean, in the Black community, hair extension is like a big thing. Because I mean, back in the days, like our parents, or they kind of like used extensions to express themselves. So it was a way of expression, and it wasn't always synthetic. Like it wasn't always made of plastic. But then they had a way, which we don't know yet, that like they used to make it. They used to kind of like make locks and stuff like that. So for them, it was kind of like a way of expressing themselves. And I just feel like for us, and for me as well, it's kind of like a way of expressing myself as well, because then it's also a way of protecting my hair, because then we kind of like talk a lot about protective style in the Black community. But then when you use something that is kind of like destroying your skin, it's not really doing what it is meant to do. So definitely that, like, extensions, it's kind of like a big thing in the in the community, and I just feel like if it is in good hands, it will be something great.
Mm.
Yeah,
So there was a way of doing these naturally, but that way has been sort of lost, almost like the recipe's been lost,
exactly.
and it's rediscovering that. Let's talk about Madam C.J. Walker and what an inspiration she is. So those of you who don't know, there's a brilliant Netflix series. Have you seen the Netflix series, Grace?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to just pull it up, but let's talk about what an inspiration she's been for you.
Mm. So when I first saw that series, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And the fact that she started something new, like she wanted to partner with someone else, but they were like, no, I'm doing it on my own. And I just got, that is kind of like another thing that we have to learn from, doing things together. Like, it's not because you do something that if we do it together, I will outshine you. No, like the sky is full of stars. They all shine. Like, we can do things together. Like, we can even do things better together. Yeah. So that was kind of like a massive source of motivation for me, because at first she did not get it. Like, she went through a lot of like trial and error, but at the end she got it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the series is called Self-Made, and Octavia Spencer plays in it. She's unbelievable. I mean, I've actually watched it twice. I loved it so much. And Madam C.J. Walker goes on to be the very first female self-made millionaire in the U.S. of any background. You know, there wasn't at that time, there wasn't a white self-made millionaire. So she was the first female self-made millionaire in America, which I just think is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And so inspirational. And that story, and it wasn't an easy road for her. You know, her marriage failed, and she had all sorts of setbacks. She had investors walk out on her. She had fraud. She had a house burned down at one point. I mean, talk about the dark night. You know, when we were in, the Level Up Mastermind just came back from Scotland, and we did a whole day on the dark night, and we talked about the hero's journey. And we talked about how, you know, every time you make progress in the direction of your dream, especially when it is your dream, there's this resistance level that kicks in, or there's the dark night that kicks in. I mean, you know it. You feel
Oh my God. Oh my God. Talk about resistance. It's like every day I'm having an inner battle. It's like, what is going on? Like, can I just be great? What is going on? It's like I am self-sabotaging sometimes. And I feel like what has helped me as well is like just being aware that, hey, Grace, there is something going on. There is something going on. But then the like inner battle is a thing.
it's real. It's real, that inner battle.
Real. It is real.
Well, two of my favorite books for that inner battle are Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap. And then he wrote another follow-up book, which really leans into that. So I'm just thinking of what his second one was called. But it was a follow-up to the Genius Zone. So the Genius Zone is the follow-up to the Big Leap, and they're both really good books, but I think that one goes through it. There's another book that I love about resistance. So there's the Art of War is the military book, but there's another one called The War of Art. And I think I read this book, The War of Art, and it basically explains what resistance is, and the fact that it comes to destroy this dream that you have, and you just have to fight through it. And so it's a great book. It's The War of Art, and it's written by Stephen Pressfield. So a couple great books for people there. I mean, obviously, I prefer to recommend female written books and books from people from all different backgrounds, but those two books are written by men. So there you go. But they do talk about this resistance that kicks in when you're leaning into a life that you would love and a dream that you would love. So, but I love how you felt it, you feel it every day, and yet you keep moving forward. And I think that's the most important thing. Well, we've got a few minutes here while we're waiting for the next guest to come on. We're doing 2 podcast episodes back to back. But if there's anyone watching live that wants to ask Grace a question, I'd love to open up the floor for that. Anne Marie is watching, and she says, your hair looks great. And we do love your hair.
Thank you. I did it myself.
Your hair is always the best, and it's so much fun because you try different things. And then Mandy says it's so inspiring. You have an energy, Grace. Of course, we know that you do. I sort of thought this was going to be fun, Joy and Grace, for a half an hour chatting about all this. And then Mandy also says, love how you say it's a stepping stone, right? And we know that fear and failure are stepping stones to that greater sense of self. So, so Grace, I just want to thank you for gracing us with your presence today. Thank you for being here and for bringing your beautiful energy and your beautiful self, and just really enlightening people about what it's like to lean into the resistance of a dream that you might have. Laura has one more comment. She says, I loved what you said about the sky is full of stars and that we can all shine together. Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts of today as well. Grace, where can people find you if they want to connect with you on all the social?
So I think on all my social is just Grace Mukamu. So it's literally just like Grace and my name.
Yeah. Okay. And MEKOMOU for those of you who want to spell that out. And we will put it into the show notes as well.
Absolutely. And there is also one last thing that I want to say, that sometimes it may feel like we don't have it all, and then we kind of like we can be scared because we're human. But like, just go for it. Be scared and do it. Like, nobody said that you have to be all happy while like doing it, or while like building your dream. You can be scared and just do it. You can be unhappy, but then just do it anyways, and then you'll be happy at the end.
Oh, I love that. Well, and we also say at Tech Pixies to imagine what it feels like when it's finished. Imagine. So, if you imagine this hair product is out in the world, people are loving it, they're using it, and you're getting every time you open up your inbox, it's ping, 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 you're getting sales, and this community is growing worldwide. If you can put yourself in a place where you can feel what that feels like, then you take the next action out of that place. Rather than take it out of that resistance, frustration place. So one of the things we can do to combat that resistance, frustration place is put us into that place of, when it all works out, how does it feel like? And then let's take a step forward. And actually, I needed that reminder today too, right? So Tech Pixies is about to launch in the United States, and we've never done that before. And I've had all sorts of resistance. So I appreciate spending time with you today to remind me of that principle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was like, this is like an honor being here. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, it's an honor to have you. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye. Oh, that was amazing. I mean, Grace just graced us with her presence, and I'm so thankful that she came onto the podcast. Now, next up, we're doing 2 podcasts back to back. So it's going to be a bit awkward when I start the new podcast, but I have a great guest, and we're going to be talking about fitness and menopause. So here we go. Hello. It's Joy Foster, founder of Tech Pixies, and you are listening to the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And October is a month in which we talk a lot about menopause in the UK. And I have a fantastic guest who would love to enlighten us all on this topic, especially around fitness and health and well-being and food and all those good things that help us get through this period of time. Now, I'm just going to put my hands up and say I have not yet entered that period of my life, but a lot of the women in our Tech Pixie community have. And so I'm really excited about having a guest today who can speak into that. Andy, thank you for being here today.
Hi, Joe. It's great to be here. Really nice to see you on here.
So Andy, for those of you who don't know Andy, this might be your first time meeting her. Andy was my coach who helped me train for the London Marathon, which I did virtually. Well, it was I ran.
You did it.
I ran 4 laps of 10K around Oxford, and she was there on her crutches with her after her knee surgery, cheering me on the whole way. So, so Andy, let's talk about what you do and how you help women. And you do work with a lot of women in that age range that are having all of these physical changes, and it really is a period of transition for a lot of women, and they need support through that. So, tell us what you do.
I'm a personal trainer and becoming more and more of a mentor and life coach too. During the pandemic, most of my personal training went online, as many things did for everyone. It coincided with a knee operation I'd had, so I wasn't able to be that person on your shoulder anymore. Joy used to love me being on her shoulder. Actually, I think she hated it. And so everything went online, and I was able to be that person in the background for some people coaching. So I would send them their exercises. I'd be waiting for them to do it, but I'd always be there. So I was mentoring. They knew they could text me, phone me whenever they wanted to. And the best thing was it made everyone accountable because they knew I was waiting for them to finish their session. No one wants to go out in the rain. No one wants to go out in the cold and do their session. Everyone dreads their session. But once they've done it, no one's ever said to me, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. I feel great. I've done it. And I think that's the case for everybody. But menopause is something that's creeping up on most people. Some people won't have any effects at all. Most of the people I know don't have too many effects. And the ones that do have done something about it. The other thing is, don't be scared to do something about it. It's your right. Try things. If it doesn't work, stop. Try something else. Best thing you can do, talk to your friends about it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's interesting. I remember when I had my children, there's so much I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that after you have babies for about 6 weeks, you've got to wear this huge mega pad. And it was only when one of my friends had a baby and she's like, oh, I hate wearing these. I feel like I'm wearing a diaper. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, yeah, like after you have a baby, you have to wear a diaper for about a month. And I didn't realize any of that, but it's talking to your friends and being open about it and saying, this is what I'm dealing with. You know, what are you dealing with? How am I handling this? So tell us about when people do have side effects from menopause. Talk about what those side effects might be.
I think the first side effect that I've heard from all the friends I have is the first thing that hits them is they start to feel warm. I think, what can I do about this? And some people, it'll just be a quick whoosh that goes up your body. And you're like, what was that? Or in the winter, you might think, well, that was warm. That was nice. In the summer, you might think, oh gosh, I'm sweating. This is awful. Why is it's making me feel hot and bothered? But there are things you can do about that. And exercise is probably the first thing you could try. Just getting out in the fresh air, building endorphins. I call them the happy chemicals. Eating well, eating the right stuff at the right times, not doing silly fad diets. That's something I don't think anyone should go on a diet. You should just eat healthy and eat the right food at the right times. And then you'll never feel hungry and you won't be grabbing the snacks.
This is really interesting because this is what you are so passionate about, is eating the right food at the right times, getting exercise, and using these two things, food and exercise, to combat all sorts of things, including menopause. So let's talk about the right foods at the right times. What do you want to tell us about that?
Okay, I think the main thing is eating enough food. People on diets don't eat enough food. They starve themselves. And the first thing that's going to happen is their mood's going to drop and they feel awful. So the first thing is, don't restrict anything. Have some healthy eating plans, eat enough at the right time. So eat a good breakfast, that depending on what you like, but make sure it's enough. Make sure you've got some protein in there because protein will keep you fuller for longer. Maybe some oats, some fruits, some nuts. If you're a really hungry person, add some high protein yogurt. So make sure you've got enough, and that'll give you a really good start to the day. and then see if you can keep going until lunch. Give your body a good gap, give your gut a rest. Don't keep reaching for the snacks. If you've had enough breakfast, you definitely won't need to.
Well, and let's talk about people who skip breakfast, because I was one of those people.
Yeah,
and
I used to talk to you about that.
I remember hearing someone say, well, this was years and years ago, but I remember when I was an athlete, I remember someone saying, this is the most important meal of the day. If you the most important meal that you eat is your breakfast meal. And that's when I started eating breakfast, and I've eaten breakfast ever since. And we have a rotation of, my husband as well has a strong nutritionist background. So we have a rotation of food. So we do Special K, we do muesli, we do porridge. We also do Weetabix, and we do not Special K. What's the other one? Anyway, a cornflakes. So we have a rotation of about 5 things. So it's not the same breakfast every morning. We always have fresh fruit on it, and we do often add yogurt. And I also add those. I found those sort of sprinkle top things that have different nuts and whatnot.
Seeds,
and I just sprinkle. Yeah, the seeds. I sprinkle that on. So yeah, let's talk about why breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Well, it'll set you up. It'll give you the energy, not just the physical energy. You also need the mental energy, especially if your kids are going to school or you've got a busy meeting. You need to be prepared. I mean, a coffee might give you a boost, but it's not going to last long. It'll wake you up, but you're going to be crying out. Your stomach will be rumbling in your meeting, and you've got to get all the way to lunch. That's quite a long time. So start right, and work out what's right for you. And I think that's a good plan that you have is, you don't have to have the same thing every day. Just make sure it's got enough good carbs. I call them the happy carbs, enough protein, and things that keep you going. Like nuts are fantastic. A few Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, whatever you like, put it on, eat it, make it good, make it enough. Remember that you're probably not going to have anything again till lunch. And if you don't have enough, that's when you'll be reaching for the Mars bars, the things you don't want to eat.
It is really interesting because when we are hungry, we do tend to reach for the sugar. We do tend to. I know. I mean, one of the reasons I really pushed myself to start going to bed between 10 and 11 was if I stay up beyond that, my body just craves sugar, and I'll just eat, the cookies in the cupboard, or I'll eat the chocolate that's in the cupboard. And I realized, and this is one of the principles that we teach in the Dream Builder program and on the Vision Workshop, notice what you're noticing. I realized there was a connection between the time of day and what I was eating. And I didn't have the self-control at that time of the day to say, I'm not going to eat this. And even when I would get rid of biscuits in the house, I would still find things to eat.
You make something. Yeah. But a good thing to do is, as you always say, build a habit, 6-7 days to build a habit. Well, eating well can be a habit building process. So I might get hungry. I don't know. Afternoon is when I get hungry, actually. So 3-4 o'clock. And I think, well, it's not long till dinner, but I'd really love it. And I walk in the kitchen. I think, no, I'm not going to have the biscuits. I walk out. I walk back in the kitchen. Do you know what? I'm going to take the dog for a walk, or I'm going to do the laundry. Or I'm going to do a job. And it's not that you can't have it. If go and grab a coffee, go and grab some water, whatever. If you still want it and you need it, have it. Don't restrict anything ever. But if you go and do that walk or do that job, it'll take your mind off it. But if you haven't had enough lunch, definitely go and have that snack.
Out there, Andy.
What did you miss? The bit where I said,
go and take that walk.
Go and take that walk. And when you come back, if you're still hungry, then you obviously need that snack. But make sure you're prepared. Have some good snacks. Have some nuts. Have some oatcakes. Have some oatcakes and cheese, oatcakes and peanut butter. Just make them good snacks. Think it through when you're shopping. Have the good things in the cupboard. The things that you want your children to eat if you have children.
What are some of the good things to eat for lunch and for dinner and for snacks?
So snacks, hopefully, if you've eaten enough lunch and dinner, you won't need the snacks. But things like oatcakes, things that last a long time. Rice cakes, now they're not very filling and they're not very exciting. But if you put something good on top, like peanut butter, for instance, cheese, whatever, it's going to be a filling snack. Keep you going for longer. But I'd say for lunch, make sure you've got some protein, got some carbs, got lots of vegetables, fruits, whatever, enough food that's going to keep you going. So you finish, you go, you're not bloated and full, like, oh, I've had a massive roast dinner, midday lunch, but oh, that was really good. I really enjoyed it because I waited. It's been a long time since breakfast. I've held out, I've done well, but I'd had enough. I got there. And now I'm going to really enjoy my lunch. I'm going to eat enough lunch. And make sure you've got enough time to eat your lunch. If you're going to grab something quick, make it something with good protein and good carbs in to keep you going.
And well, and I'm guilty of trying to eat lunch and be on the computer, which is not a good idea. I know that, but we still do it.
Yeah. And the exercise thing, everything about exercise lifts your mood. So exercise doesn't mean you have to go and train like an Olympic athlete. Exercise is anything. It's moving. Basically, it's moving. Go and do the jobs. Take the things take the boxes that you've been meaning to move to the shed that you've been tripping over. Anything. Just do anything. Go out. Go for a walk. A 5-minute walk is all you've got time for. Do it. A 1-minute walk. Walk to the lamppost and back. Just keep moving. Take the things upstairs that you need to. Just move more than you did yesterday.
Yeah, moving. Part of my vision. So I have a vision statement, and every month we do a vision workshop. It's free. People can come. They can craft a vision workshop, a vision statement. And if they want to go deeper into our Dream Builder program, where we spend 12 whole weeks really learning all the principles of dream building and leaning into the bigger picture, one of the things that it's on my on my vision for 3 years from now, but also a month from now and 3 days or 3 months from now, a year from now and 3 months from now, is this concept that I move every day. Whether I cycle, I run, I walk, I swim, I ski, I hike, and I've got a whole list of things that I do, but I do something every day. And interestingly enough, as I was looking at, okay, well, that's what I want to be 3 years from now, where I'm doing something every single day. Right. Then what am I going to do the next 3 months? And I, and Andy knows I had a knee injury, which really took me out of the game for almost a whole year. But I started a new job on the side, just doing some rowing coaching at my daughter's school. And in order to get to the job, I have to cycle. So I'm now cycling 4 days a week to get to the job and back at shorter trips and longer trips. But I was looking at my vision. I thought, okay, well, my husband works out every morning, so I'm going to join him one morning a week. And I'm going to keep doing cycling and running at least twice a week. But what was really funny is I told him this. I said, my 3-month vision is that you and I are doing a workout every week, and then I'm doing my cycling and my running. And so every day he's coming, he's like, great, you're going to come work out with me. And of course, I haven't adjusted my schedule yet in order to do the workouts with him. And I said, okay, well, this is a good lesson. I've got to actually get my schedule aligned with what I would love to see happen in my life. And I was working with a couple of our mastermind members this week, and we were talking about time blocking, because they're doing various jobs or they've got various family commitments, and they're finding that either they're going to get overwhelmed if they don't organize their time, or they're not getting stuff done because there's scope creep from the parts of their life is going into it. So a huge part of sort of taking control of your health and your fitness, and I would imagine even menopause, is scheduling it in, making the time.
When are you going to do it? And it's sort of make it impossible not to do. So your exercise kit, you don't actually need a lot of exercise kit. You can just put a sweatshirt over your pajamas. Just put some trainers on, get out there. It doesn't matter what you look like. You're probably going to have a shower afterwards anyway. So be prepared to do that. Just have it by the door. The first thing you see is put your kit by your bed. The first thing you're going to see is your kit. So put your kit on. I mean, there are a lot of people who put their kit on in the morning and then they still have on at night and still haven't done their exercise. I know lots of people are guilty of that. Have you done it yet? But that's where I come in, because if I'm in touch with people that I coach, they know I'm waiting for them to do it. And I say, and I might give them a little nudge. It might
you literally are though, and I have to say,
how's your day going? And
I love working with you.
Oh, it's Andy, I need to do my session.
Well, I worked with you for over a year, and I loved that you were always every day checking in with me, encouraging me. And I'm sure, I mean, I didn't probably do every exercise I was supposed to, but I did way more because I had that person, that partner in believing, that person who wanted to support me and also wanted to see me succeed.
And
So
you'd
I
say,
can
I can't do this session. I can't do it. I can't fit it in. And we'd say, well, what can you do? And I remember at one point when Joy hurt her knee, I'd had knee surgery as well, actually. And Joy said, well, I can't run, I can't do this. And Joy said, I was going to walk every day. Well, Joy wasn't walking every day. So I remember saying, hey, I'm going to come and see you. We're going to go for a walk. And we had a lovely walk on the canal. And it was just, we just did it. And we actually made other things happen within that walk as well. So because Joy's very good at multitasking, she doesn't do one thing at once, but it's just doing it and having someone sort of maybe on your shoulder or just gently giving you a nudge and saying, hey, maybe that didn't go so well, but these are the positives, and seeing the positives and moving forward and having someone to motivate you to do exercise is the biggest part. I think is just getting out the door, starting it. And even 5 minutes is better than nothing.
Well, and there's a great book about habits, which I believe it's James Clear. He wrote it, and it's called Atomic Habit. And he talks about the 2-minute rule and the don't skip twice rule. And I did a whole series on Tech Pixies, which we'll link to in the show notes. But if you go to the techpixies.com/free resources page or the podcast page, techpixies.com/podcast, there's a series on habits. And I basically break down the book and talk about it in my own life. But the 2-minute rule is such a great rule. It's do something for 2 minutes and you'll find that you end up doing it for longer. So if you say, okay, I'm going to go for a walk for 2 minutes, by the time you got your shoes on and you're out the door and you're walking, 20 minutes later, you're still walking. And then the other thing was the don't skip twice. So if you say, okay, I'm going to do a walk every day, then if you miss a day, you don't skip 2 days. But I will tell you something really fun. I was, so I coached I had one thing I'm loving about coaching is just being outside. I used to, as an archer on the United States archery team, I lived at the Olympic Training Center. I was outside from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, every single day, 365 days a year. And you forget how much your body needs that. And, since the pandemic, I took over the living room in our house and I've been in this room for, 3 years where just me in this room, and
you will find
not
being
even
outside will make you so much. It makes you so much healthier as well. Just being outside in nature, seeing the trees, everything makes you feel good. But you get less colds, you get ill less. You're getting the vitamin D, which you really need, especially people in menopause, desperately need the vitamin D and all the sort of. If you can get them naturally, then that's great. If you can't, then take them.
What was incredible is on the Sunday, I was parking the launch. The launch is what you take out. I'm backing the launch in, and I look up, and a kingfisher lands right on the branch. I was so excited. But then here's the thing. Then the Monday, I went for a walk along the river, and I looked over, and I'm always looking for kingfishers. I've only ever seen one once, and it was so fast I wasn't even sure I actually saw it. I'm walking along the river the next day, and a kingfisher just flew right along the bottom of the water and just right by us. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought, this is incredible. 2 days in a row to see. I haven't seen a kingfisher that, for a long, 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 long time. Maybe that one time I wasn't even sure if I saw one. And I just saw 2 in 2 days just by being outside. And those of you who know me know I love spirit animals. So, and you and I have talked about this too when we were on our walk, the different animals that we saw. But the kingfisher spiritual meaning, I'll just pull it up so that because I love talking about this stuff, but it's, when you see 2 in a row, it's just unbelievable. So it says a kingfisher is a free spirit. They have wanderlust running in their blood. And in many cultures, these birds are associated with fertility and good fortune. And I just loved seeing that 2 days in a row. I think it was incredible. But anyway, that's my side note on the kingfisher. But you get those experiences by being outside that you don't get otherwise, by seeing the 2 cormorants fly over your head, or by having a swan walk along the river with you. When you're one with nature, it is a really fantastic, spectacular feeling, and we just don't do it enough. So I think a couple tips you've given us today is, eating well, getting exercise, being outside. These are all really good ways to deal with menopause.
One of the menopause things that bothers most women is the fact that they think they gain weight because menopause hits, and they think they gain weight. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But people I've worked with recently, it's been one of their main issues. And the way that I set I don't want to call it diet, healthy eating out, is I say, eat at the right times, eat enough. And if you're eating enough, you're not going to grab those snacks. So you might be thinking, I'm going to have those crisps, I'm going to have that bar. You eat a good dinner, and you get to the end of the dinner and think, oh, I'm really full, I really enjoyed that. And you're not. The other thing I say is, if you're going to have those snacks, have them with your meal. So don't say I can't have them, but I'm going to have them when I've eaten my meal, as a dessert, as a whatever. You get to the end of your meal and you won't need them. And quite a few of my clients have lost quite a lot of weight.
I was going to say, if you have a good meal, you often...
Yeah, you don't need it. You don't grab the snacks. So a friend of mine, she's become a friend. She's actually a client. She's now my friend. She's lost 10 pounds in 12 weeks. No diet, no restrictions, just being with me, saying, oh, I nearly grabbed this, I nearly had that. I went out for a birthday, I had a cake. I said, you've got to have a cake, it's a birthday. It would be rude not to have birthday cake. Have things. There's nothing wrong. There's no, and if you think I ate too much today, eat a bit less tomorrow. Think of it as a week, think of it as a month. But the pounds just dropped off her. And she said, I've done nothing. I haven't done massive amounts of exercise. All I've done is eaten 3 good meals a day. She says, I've eaten better than I have in a long time. I haven't
better and eaten at the right time.
Yeah.
And had an accountability buddy.
Eating enough. But it's and I love helping these people, because the results, I can just see, you're just going to get results. It's just going to happen. And it always does. They say, but they did it all. Thank you, Andy. But no, Andy didn't do it. You did it all.
So
someone to hold the hand.
So someone in our community is asking a question. What advice would you give someone living with a disability and pre-existing health conditions? Sometimes mainstream menopause advice is aimed at the able-bodied. I mean, this goes for actually that sort of fitness and not diet, but the menu that you put in front of you. How does that change for people with different?
Well, I don't think the eating habits will change for anyone with a disability, because that's all fine, and it's probably harder because they sometimes can't move as much. And when I say move more, just move more for you. So your base is here. Just move more for you. You can move it depending what you can move. So just sitting in your chair and moving, doing something, picking up your cup of coffee is moving. Anything is moving. Keep moving. Be outside. And I will say that I think the weight loss, if you need weight loss, I reckon it's about 80% achieved in the kitchen and 20% outside. And if you combine the both, it means you'll be getting healthy and fit at the same time as losing your weight. So losing weight, if you have excess weight, losing that weight will make you healthier anyway. But if you can add the fitness, you get your healthy heart as well. It's a win-win. But most of it's the diet, and it's not even a diet. It's just not eating the stuff that you know you shouldn't eat, but eating enough so you're not grabbing that.
Right. And what you're saying is, if you are eating enough and you're eating what will fill you up, you're not going to want that. And I think that's really important. One of the things that we have a couple amazing women in our community who are menopause experts, and we will be bringing them onto the podcast as well to interview them. Really one of the things that Eileen, who's watching right now, has said is that everyone has a different medical condition. And I think what she means by that is everyone has a different makeup. They have everyone's dealing with different things in their life, whether they're able-bodied or disabled. We all have a totally different genetic makeup. So what she's suggesting is that you get the correct form of HRT and alternative therapies to support the symptoms that you are having.
Yeah.
right? And but I think what I love about what Andy's advice is around the health and the fitness is part of your menopause strategy should be, what am I eating and how am I moving within what I'm able to do, and then we also then have the alternative therapies and the HRT that are there for you, and the community of people that are actually now talking about it. We have,
and don't be scared to try things, because if it doesn't work for you, you can always stop or change. But every person I coach has been different, actually, with different needs. Everybody has different needs. Some of them just want to talk. Some of them just want me to push them, really push them. And some don't need pushing at all. They just want to know that you're there to check that they're doing it, check they're accountable, and give them some ideas.
Well, and Tracy's also bringing up this conversation around supporting women whose weight gain is down to medication and not diet. And let me just say, I have people in my family who have been on medication for years and years and years, and it has affected them massively with their weight. And it is something that sometimes people have a reaction to when they're on medication, that they gain weight. So have you had clients that have had medication that they're on, that they're fighting, they're fighting that battle, and how do you help them?
What I've done with them, well, with one particular person I can think of, is trying to make them feel better. Okay. So a healthy diet, even if because of medication, your weight isn't going down, you will still benefit from the healthy diet, because someone with medical issues is going to benefit even more from a healthy diet and exercise. And it's not just about how you look and the weight going down. It's also about how you feel, feeling positive, getting the real healthy endorphins to lift your mood. I mean, if you feel good about yourself, everything else kind of can slot in. Things have to be in a sort of order, and get yourself feeling good, and then keep moving. If you're moving, you're probably moving outside. You get the benefits from being outside, and you just have to take every case that it is. And I haven't had anyone that hasn't benefited in some way yet.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Andy, we've got to go. How do people find you if they want to connect with you?
So
to
just
sign
look
up
for
as a
me.
personal trainer,
Just look for
or
me, Andy Galway, mostly on Facebook or Instagram. You'll find me, connect with me. I have said to Joy, I will give tech pixies, or people who listen to Joy's podcast or want to be involved in it, to contact me, and I will give them a 20% discount.
So we will add all that information into the show notes. Thank you, Andy.
Brilliant.
Have a fantastic day.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.